Mickey Appleman, a complex, fascinating, endlessly interesting woman with an opinion on every subject. A generous, charming, gracious, warm, and loving woman. A thoughtful, creative hostess who loved entertaining and did it with style and grace. A woman who loved those she loved unconditionally, who enriched the lives of so many, and who supported the causes and people she embraced. When I think of Mickey and my experiences with her and of her, 1,000 memories come to the surface, and I think of them as pieces of one of her beloved quilts, each memory a square. The quilt I have in my heart and mind goes on and on. There were 57 years of lives shared, so I'll pick just a very few. Meeting in 1964 in grad school at CUNY and becoming fast friends. We spent a year together working on our master's theses in her Manhattan apartment, critiquing and editing each other's work. I know that my thesis was enriched by her keen intellect and graced by her insights. That first year was the beginning of our lifelong friendship, and she played a major role in my life. We became family, and she was the godmother to our children, whom she loved unconditionally, and I to hers, and I feel the same way about them. There was the baby shower she threw for me in that same apartment after my son was born. She loved celebrations and did them all, and there were too many to recount with style and panache. Each involved detailed planning and preparation and came off without a hitch. Ted's bris in that same apartment where I met her father, one of the most beloved and influential people in her life. He was Southern and a wonderful gentleman, always called her by her full name, Mickey Lou, and Mickey never forgot her roots as a Dixie chick. Our adopting each other as sisters of the heart and the hundreds of letters we exchanged when she lived abroad, all witty and entertaining and vivid chronicles and often signed of her daily life and often signed sis. When she lived abroad, the mail was a lifeline. She was really put out one day, she wrote me, when she went to the PO and it was closed to commemorate, and I won't ever forget this, Christus Farts and Himmeltag, Ascension Day. Some nerve was the tone in her letter. You could hear her voice in her writing. She had quite a talent for that, and she was also a very gifted writer. And the PO continued to be important to her to the end of her life. She was there often mailing gifts to her many friends and their families, mementos and things and she thought you might like. Sending things through the PO was another way that Mickey manifested her generosity of spirit. 3 years ago, one of my closest friends, Fern, who was also a sister of my heart for many, many years, and who Mickey became friendly with as well, passed away very suddenly. Mickey knew that Fern and I spoke on the phone daily, sometimes more than that. And she knew how bereft I was and determined to do what she could to help comfort me, to stay in constant touch. So she began to mail me packets of clippings she thought I might like, from clipped out many papers from and magazines that she read. They came at least 3 to 4 times per week. By some good fortune, I still have the last envelope I got from her, just before her stroke, and I will always treasure that. Back to the early years, there was our family's visit to them when they were living in Berlin, and the plans we made in our letters, both of us so excited about seeing each other and spending time together, and the actual wonderful visit, our 2-year-old sons getting to know each other. When the family moved back to the States, Mickey invited us to join them to celebrate her favorite holiday, Thanksgiving, which you all know that's what it is. And in a few years, the festive, joyous, and always memorable Thanksgiving at Aunt Mickey's, lovingly known as TAAM, grew and grew. I always teased Mickey that she was the happiest when every possible space to sleep in her home was occupied. I will leave it to others to share all the much more there is. I will say that to our family, that weekend became the definition of the holiday. And one of my favorite memories of Mickey is of her as an exuberant, joyous, radiant, and beautiful bride when she married Jerry. I could feel the love and happiness flowing from her, and the memory of that brings a smile to my heart. It is one of the favorite squares on my quilt. I will always love you, Nikki.